To ensure the fitness of all the nominees before me, I ask the following two initial questions of every nominee who comes before any of the 5 committees on which I sit. So I'll start with Mr. Gallagher, and we'll just go down the line. 2 questions. Since you became a legal adult, have you ever made unwanted requests for sexual favors or committed any verbal or physical harassment or assault of a sexual nature?
No, Senator.
No, Senator.
No, Senator.
No, Senator.
No, Senator.
Have you ever faced discipline or entered into a settlement related to this kind of conduct?
No, Senator.
No, Senator.
No, Senator.
No, Senator.
No, Senator.
I've read all of your backgrounds, very, very impressive. I would like to focus most of my 5 minutes on asking Ms. Hidalgo some questions. This is a position that has been led by an acting director for many years. I don't know why that was the case. You are coming before us as the first Senate-confirmed person for what I consider to be a very important position, because there is absolutely no question in my mind that there is gender-based violence in our country, and we need to spend a lot more resources and time focusing on eliminating, preventing, and prosecuting those who engage in such conduct. So on Thursday, I just wanted to mention, on September 29, 2022, FBI Director Wray appeared before this committee for an oversight hearing. And during that hearing, I shared with them my concerns about sex trafficking in the Native Hawaiian community. And I think you are aware that Native peoples, Native women and children, suffer at much higher rates of both sexual violence and trafficking. So this would be Native Hawaiian, as well as Alaska Natives and American Indian women and children. But Hawaiian women and girls represent 67% to 77% of sex trafficking victims identified in recent studies, and further, Native Hawaiians also represent 37% of reported child sex trafficking cases. Director Wray acknowledged during his testimony that gangs and drug trafficking organizations active in Hawaii exploit vulnerable victims, especially Native Hawaiians. So I'd like to ask you, what steps can the Office of Violence, should you be confirmed, Office of Violence Against Women take to improve support for survivors of gender-based violence among especially vulnerable communities such as Native Hawaiian communities?
Thank you, Senator Hirono, for that question. I share your commitment and concern to ensuring that the resources through the Violence Against Women Act and the ways in which these grant programs are implemented really should seek to serve all individuals, including with a specific focus on recognizing some communities that are historically marginalized or underserved, and doing more to make sure that the resources can really strengthen community-based organizations in those communities reaching hard-to-serve populations. I think that's an important hallmark of the Violence Against Women Act with the coordinated community response. And at the White House, I had the opportunity recently to relaunch the Trilateral Working Group on Violence Against Indigenous Women and Girls in collaboration with the countries of Canada and Mexico and Indigenous women leaders, and really lifting up all the ways, both for Native Americans, but as you mentioned also the importance with Alaska Native communities, Native Hawaiians, how we can continue to strengthen access to justice, comprehensive services, and prevention in these communities. And I look forward with OVW to advancing those goals.
Knowing that these communities that I talked about have much higher rates of these kinds of incidents, and the Office of Violence Against Women's budget is $513 million when I checked. So is most of that money going for grants to entities that work with these communities?
Thank you, Senator, for that question. So the VAWA funding, which is so critical, is sort of part of it goes out to the 56 states and territories and tribal communities through formula grants to make sure that all different states and territories and communities have opportunities to implement promising practices and strengthen the coordinated community response. But then there are also discretionary grant programs administered through the Office on Violence Against Women. And there's also specific programs seeking, for example, the culturally specific services programs or underserved community programs to really build capacity, support for innovation and promising practices.
Yeah. I'd like to, I raise these issues because I think that there needs to be a lot more focus on those communities that are particularly vulnerable, and those are the communities I mentioned. And when we talk about violence, the gender-based violence across our country, 513 million does not go very far. I hope that you will be coming forward, if not you, your Department of Justice, to ask for a lot more funding, and I hope that this committee can support increased funding as well as other resources for your office.
Thank you, Senator Hirono. If I'm fortunate enough to be confirmed, I look forward to opportunities to work with you and the committee and Congress to advance those goals.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Hirono. Senator Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's good to have all of you here. Arun, it's good to see you. It's been a while since we've seen each other. I doubt very highly that